I decided I wanted to go ahead and do a reply to Phil over here on gold and silver, okay? Overall, I agree with everything he has said here, okay? When it comes to buying seeds, when it comes to food, water, what have you, tangible items, I'm totally with him on that. He's totally correct, okay? And yes, the day will come that there will be a collapse. And I'm sure of that myself, okay? When, I don't know. I won't ever put a time or date on anything. Okay, but I see it coming. But I want to bring a couple other points up, okay? When it comes to gold and silver, I want you just a little bit of common sense. We all know Alex Jones pushes this, okay? And of course he does, just like Phil said, okay? But there's something that you haven't ever heard Alex Jones talk about, haven't there? And that would be during the first Great Depression, the first one. I was over that 1929, in and around that area. Okay. The collapse happened, and the government of the United States made a mandatory gold and silver roundup. They recalled all gold and silver from the citizens of the United States. If you don't believe this, you can go do your research and you'll find out it's true. Okay? So here's my theory, okay? I could be wrong on this, but I don't think I am. The people at the top only want them, the very wealthy, and us, the dirt broke. We have a middle class in this country that they do not want. They haven't been able to do away with that middle class. But let's just think about this for a second. We keep promoting gold. Let's open your eyes and think about this just for a second. How many of us people can actually honestly afford to go buy gold? Seriously, how many of us could actually afford to go buy gold? Not many. That's for sure. Not many, right? But knowing the dollar is going to eventually crash, or the currency is going to crash, the people that are middle class could afford to buy it, couldn't they? Now, the average Joe ain't going to afford to buy it, like myself or Phil, okay? I mean, the majority of people ain't never going to be able to afford to buy it. But the middle class can. So let's just use our heads here. So we keep pushing the scare, we keep pushing gold and silver. So the middle class buy up a bunch of gold and silver, thinking that they're going to save themselves when this happens. Now, he mentioned about trading it in for them, and he's right, Phil's right. Then they get taken for a ride, okay? He's right about that. But let's think about something else. What if all the middle class bought this gold and silver, the majority of them do, that the majority of people can't afford to, right? They crash the system, and the government repeats history, and they make a recall on gold and silver, and make it illegal for you to barter or trade with it. And if you get caught bartering and trading with the gold and silver, because the government claims now that we are broke and we need the money, so we are demanding that you got gold and silver, you're to turn it into the government right now because your country needs it. Okay? This is what they've done in the past. So then all the middle class are sitting there holding the gold and silver, and if they try to use it, they go to prison and it's taken away from them. So they have to turn it into the government. Right? Okay? Just like in the history, just like in past. What have we effectively done? What we have effectively done now is wiped out the middle class. There is no more middle class. Now there is us and them at the top with it all. And he's right about the food in the grocery stores. Day, 2 days, grocery stores are empty. It's gone. Okay? So I agree with Phil here. He's right. You're not going to eat gold. You're not going to eat silver. You're not going to drink gold. You're not going to drink silver. What should you do? Buy food, water, tangible items that's going to keep you alive. Then there's something else you want to think about. If you're going to buy food, you might want to think about 5 types of foods that will keep for years. Stuff that you can have for a long time without electricity. That's right, without electricity. Let's imagine something here. The economy crashes. Maybe some little disaster happens afterwards, and wow, an entire power grid's down. Man, maybe something major happens and it's going to be months, maybe a year, maybe 2 years before the power is restored. What are you going to do then? What happens if you bought all this meat you have in a freezer with no electricity? Might want to think about that. Okay? So I would agree with Phil, but I would say you better be very selective of what you're buying for food. Okay? Then there's the other scenario. Okay? At that point in time when the grocery stores are out of food, all the sheep out here that refuse to listen, to turn their back to what was being said, they're going to panic. They're going to panic. Your worst enemy may be your neighbor. That's right. And with all the guns on the streets, I can see the government sitting back and allowing us to kill each other off for a little while before they come in. Oh, yeah, like how FEMA was slow to respond to Hurricane Katrina. You know how the government and FEMA helped them out? Better think about that. So they sit back and they watch the entertainment and watch us kill each other off. Now let's just suppose that you're middle class and you used your head and didn't buy gold and silver and you bought food. I hope you have it protected. I wouldn't advertise you have it. I wouldn't advertise one little bit you have it. Because at that particular time, when you're talking about the family that needs food that can't get any food, that their children is going to starve to death, people are going to become animals. And they're going to be killing each other for what somebody else has. Wow. People at the top sit back and watch and enjoy. There's a lot of bad times coming our way. And people ain't paying attention. But my personal opinion, now this is just my opinion, my personal opinion, just like history, has always been replaying itself over and over and over again because people don't learn. They just refuse to learn from their history. And they all want to say, won't happen to me, won't happen to me, couldn't happen here, couldn't happen here. You hear that all the time, don't you? Well, they're going to have a royal surprise when the boot is shoved right up there, you know what. Okay? I guess it's like the KBG agent said. You can lay all the evidence and all the proof that you want in people's face, and they still won't get it until the military boot comes crashing down their door. Well, when the currency crashes, I see where this is going. I've mentioned this before. And people like Alex Jones knows this. But you ain't going to hear Alex Jones talk about this. Okay? When the government made it mandatory for the people to turn in their gold and silver during the first Great Depression. Nope, you ain't going to hear that talked about, are you? So, the middle class are the people that's going to have the gold and silver. Because I can guarantee you, people like myself and people like Phil, the average people, which is the majority of us, we don't have the money to be going and buying gold. And you already know that as well as I do. And for the people who have managed to get up some gold, they make it so that they did like they did in the past, that you can't use it to barter or trade with. What good's that going to do you? And if you try to use it and you get caught using it, you go to prison because they lock you up and take it from you anyhow, right? Right. So what good's it going to do you? Really none. Plus the fact that if I was holding on to the last of my food and I didn't know I was going to get any more and I only had this much time, do you honestly think I'm going to be trading you my last meals for that gold that you have in your hand? Nope, not at all. See, so Phil's 100% correct with what he's saying. But I think the scam is to make it known for a long time, as they have done. You've seen, if you've been in any big cities, you've watched all these spots that we buy gold and silver here, we buy gold and silver here. You know what that's about? That's your government taking the wealth away from the people. The people like Phil and me and so on that actually do have a gold wedding ring or gold this or gold that as they're crashing the system and you become desperate for money. Well, we could sell this over here, honey. That'll get somebody to pay our bills. Well, okay, so and there's a lot of people out of work. You go over there and sell it to them, and they're taking that and melting it down and shipping it back overseas. So they're stripping the wealth off this country right now, and they've been doing it for quite a while. All you had to do is open your eyes to all the places that suddenly popped up out of nowhere. We buy gold and silver here. We buy gold and silver here. Okay? Stripping the wealth from this country already. And for the middle class, well, no biggie. When the time comes and we crash the currency, the middle class think you got it made, don't you? Because you got your gold stashed. But if they repeat history and make it illegal or use it, you might just be having a problem, won't you? Not counting the fact that what Phil said about the grocery stores, he's correct. Just a little food for thought for you. So I thought I'd make this reply to Phil. Thank you for your video. I am new to your channel, by the way. Didn't know you existed till I run onto you the other day, but I've been saying what I'm saying for a long time now. And Phil is right.